Hello everyone, and welcome back to Fableheim and Knock on the Coffin Lid. Today, we're giving Knock on the Coffin Lid the update treatment, which means we're not actually playing Knock on the Coffin Lid today. Although you can hear its lovely title screen music in the background, we're going to be taking a look at the update patch notes and what I think about the changes, and to bring them to your attention. This is the last balance update, as they have said, but I'll get into that a little more, because before we get into the nitty-gritty details, what has changed, the developers, Redboon, have released a brand new roadmap. So before we get into the roadmap, there's a bunch of befores here. We're going to go all the way to the bottom of the patch notes and see right here, to expand a little bit what I said earlier. As we said, the changes now will be less about balance. The team aims to create brand new content. Therefore, we invite you to come up with new opponents and elite bosses to knock on the Coffin Lid. Leave your ideas in the comments under this update, and in no case limit your imagination. Our team will bring the best ideas to life and place the most interesting opponents at the side of Mortis and Melenis. The dedicated Redboon team await your ideas. So if you have ideas, feel free to share them. But the most important part here is that further updates will be less about balance. So let's take a look at what they're planning to include. Here is the brand new roadmap, released August 25th. The first stage is the brand new mode Melenis Nightmare, which is adding a leaderboard. I have no idea what this is going to be about. Melenis, of course, is the primary antagonist, or your, evil friend, depending on how you choose. And usually games, from what I've seen recently, like Aria Chronicle, even Wrath of the Righteous is planning on adding this, they add roguelike modes to their game that's either standalone or somehow connected. But this is already a roguelike, so I have no idea what they're going to do. But hey, new modes, I'll be there. The second stage is quests with new game mechanics. This is a little vague, but the details about it is for those who are tired of the game and require mire action, we're going to present a completely new game mechanic, quests. It will include unique trophies, cards, enemies, and even dungeons. I'm a big fan of dungeons, so very curious for that one. Stage 3 is the finished story of Bjorn with all the videos. Right now, Bjorn doesn't have voice acting, nor does he have any of the end-screen videos with Mortis or Melenis, so this will be a nice little touch. Those who actively follow the plot will see the full story of Bjorn with videos and travel notes. Very nice, very nice. Stage 4 is to translate the game into Chinese. Personally, I don't care about this at all, but the Chinese market is huge for video games, so I imagine this is a large step for the developers. Stage 5, Vanadis, elaboration of game mechanics and an open test of the brand new hero. Vanadis is the third and final hero, everyone's favorite female shaman ranger lady that I've been waiting for a very long time, and it seems I have quite a yet of ways to go. But she will be here for testing. It says, we offer to shout and stomp very soon, relatively bring you with a brand new hero. We have plans to develop game mechanics and open Vanadis on the test branch. I'll be there. We tested Bjorn on the test branch. Why not? Seems like it's a good time to learn how to go to the test branch. I remember. I think. Stage 6 is the finished story of Vanadis. I'm assuming this will include... maybe? Include voice acting and stuff? We'll see. Stage 7 is the canonical ending, and this is what raised my eyebrow the most. We kind of know the good and the bad ending. But I imagine what this means is this is the ending of all three heroes rolled into one, because all of the heroes know each other, or know of each other. So I imagine this is just the big finale of all three heroes, is what I'm guessing. But also, the canonical ending suggests there's a non-canonical ending. Just spitballing there. Stage 8, porting the game to mobile devices. The developers have always made clear that they plan on going to mobile eventually, and I'm somewhat concerned because a lot of mobile games, let's just not beat around the bush here, are microtransaction traps. And I really hope the developers can stick to what they have right now. If they literally just port this game over as a buy-to-play, very fun roguelike, they get a round of applause from me. I'll be very happy about that. Let's see. And yes, we highlight the item porting the game to mobile devices with a red marker. There's a chance that we are waiting for this more than you. Mobile is, just like the Chinese market, ginormous, except even larger. So, it was kind of a no-brainer. Makes sense. So that is the roadmap and all of its 8 stages. I am very excited for a lot of this. And I wish the developers the best of luck. So now with that out of the way, let's get into the really juicy details. Here we are, returned with a great and beautiful update. In the latest patch notes, we have revisited the entire game from maps to enemies. We are now close to leveling the game. We hope to end the war on balance soon and finally move on to implementing other ideas. We invite you on an exciting long journey through the vastness of the updated Midian, which I guess is what the world is called. Never realized that. So as for content update, they've added 2 new events at the Northern Gate. They've added unique screens of death for Milenis and Mortis. Now maps can be used by clicking without aiming at the enemy. Not sure what that means. Added missing voice acting for units and added missing animations for units. Very nice, filling in the gaps. But here's where things start to get a little interesting. The balance changes. Reworked enemies in the Crimson Steps and the Northern Gates, a little vague. But that's fine. Now you cannot restart the battle of the final event. You cannot restart it. It's a one and done. Don't screw up. Some potions can now be used directly from the inventory. I imagine this is just healing potions? Maybe a little bit more. There's no pause between the final battles. This caught my interest because the pause, while semi-immersion breaking, did allow you to refresh your potions. So I'm curious if potions are just going to auto-refresh, or if that's no longer a thing. Added new videos when replaying the game. I did log in to test a few of the class changes, very briefly, and I didn't see any of these, so maybe they're later on, who knows. The card carousel now adds fatigue immediately to the hand rather than to the rebound. This is a curious change. This is their address to the infinite decks, which basically once you went through your whole deck and you reached the last card in your draw pile, you could play carousel to reshuffle your entire deck into your draw pile, but you would add a curse that couldn't be played. It did nothing, it just took up a slot, which was no big deal, until you had like 10 of them just thickening up your deck. This isn't too big of a change, unless the fatigue now does something else. Change the values of damage and negative effects for status cards and curses. Little vague, but okay. Change map natural protection. I'm not sure what this is. Is this the bear in the first? Whatever. Don't know. Rework the veteran class. Now we're getting to the juicy details. So for this, I have the game open. Oh, black screen. You can do it. There we go. Percival. So the veteran class. Here we go. The veteran class is powerful. And before this update, it was the most powerful class between Percival and Bjorn. In fact, it was in a league of its own. S++++++ infinite god, basically. The wording here has now changed a little bit. Gain 2 energy. Playing 3 cards of different types in a row reduces the cost of other cards in hand by 1. Playing 2 cards of the same type in a row increases the cost of cards in hand by 1. There's not, as far as the wording is concerned, the only thing that's changed is they removed the part where your energy does not refresh. Also, I think it was gain 1 energy previously. So every turn, the veteran will refresh his 5 energy, his 5 baseline energy. It'll be very easy to get that to 6 or 7 or whatever, depending on how lucky you get with talents. So I looked at this, and I went, isn't that just making this class even more busted? Like S++++ infinite god to just ruler of all things. Yes, if I didn't read a little bit further. Sorry about the blank screen. The computer's having its time. But down here, under the bugs and technical fixes, for the veteran class, the reduction in the cost of cards is now valid until it is used. And I did test this. What this means is that whenever you play your cards, you get the discount for your whole hand. If you play the cards that cost 0, when they draw into their deck, they will reset to their original cost. What made the veteran class so ridiculously overpowered was that once you reduce the cards in your deck, they were permanently reduced. I can't even count how many times I had a deck that just cost 0, like the entire freaking thing. So This explains why the energy now refreshes, because you have to actually expend your energy. I still think the veteran class is strong, but there's a lot more thinking that now goes into it. Like, do you want to preserve the cost reduction proc for when you draw a new hand, so that you can reduce everything in the hand and then you can play it all? Do you want to reduce stuff and then save it for like a next turn when you have more energy? There's a lot more thought process going into that, and now it's a bit more brought down into line with the other classes. Like I said, I still think it's really good, but it is no longer in a tier of its own godhood. So, I mean, this was inevitable. If you didn't think this was coming, you were lying to yourself. So back up to the balance changes. Increase the bonuses for the knight class. I'll put up what it said originally. The text actually hasn't changed for the knight class, but it does, instead of gaining one strength and 1 agility, it now gives you 2 strength and 2 agility, which isn't the biggest change, but it's a change. Additionally, for the veteran class, there is currently a bug. I did report it, but if you go with the head start benefit, which makes it so that every turn your first card costs 0, and you have 2 charges of the veteran, so the next card you play is going to proc the cost reduction. You play the card that costs 0, you proc the cost reduction in your hand, but all of the cards reset to their regular cost. So currently, that combination is broken. I did report it, and hopefully it will be fixed eventually. Rework the map of the Northern Gate. Now, the last 3 battles before mating with Sigismund are not always elites. This is fine. By the end of the game, you're strong enough that the elites don't matter. But hey, a vendor before the last boss could be fun. Change the amount of gold received in battles, depending on the biome. Hopefully this means increasing the gold reward from, like, the second biome. It's pretty much when you need it the most, so that you can hit many merchants in the third biome. Hard to say. Plague Contagion is now blocked by resistance. Is this wards? Plague is the new debuff that bounces back and forth if you hit somebody. I'm not sure about that. Change condition cards that the Ritual Keeper mixes in. Ritual Keeper is one of the bosses from the swamp, which I hate. He's actually one of the easier bosses. Added a new attack to the Ritual Keeper, but that might have changed. Completely reworked the mechanics of Bjorn, his curse, and his forms. Reworked the Lunar Druid and reworked classed Madman. Bjorn desperately needed some changes for his later classes, and sorry for the black screen again. But if we go to Bjorn, Lunar Druid's description's kind of bugged on the English client, but I guess I'll go over the changes first. So Bjorn originally, and it still might be this way, his strongest class was his very first one. 5 bombs, so you heal for 5 after every turn, and whenever you transform, you get the Composure. The reason Composure was so freaking strong and useful was because when it upgraded, it didn't give you a Scourge of the Lycan, and you could completely negate his entire werewolf mechanic, which was good, because it was pretty ridiculous. Now it's a little bit better. So the Scourge of the Lycan is still the exact same. If you end your form... How does this work again? If you end your turn in Lycan form, you get a Scourge of the Lycan. I think. Oh dear. But basically, it put a temporary curse in your deck. It's ethereal, so it'll go away once you draw it. But if you draw it while in Lycan form, you get a Curse of the Lycan to your deck. Curse of the Lycan is still permanent, but what it used to do is it used to deal 5 damage to you when you drew it in Lycan form per curse that you had. So there are a few streams, or in a few runs I did, where I literally just drew one of these, took 30 damage, and died. It sucked. But now, they've kind of worked in fiddling these into your deck through instinct or certain card mechanics, and now they've nerfed Curse of the Lycan quite dramatically. If drawn while in Lycan form, inflict Blight. This is a dot that I'm pretty sure it's just 1 stack of the dot too, that deals damage through armor, I think. Not that Bjorn really gets armor. So, with all that out of the way, they made Werewolf less punishing, which is good because you didn't want to be in it. So you either played straight or just ignore it. You did Turnskin for the Composure to negate it, and that was pretty much it. Of course, there is always Cold Mind, which just completely ignores these while the Cold Mind buff is active, but you weren't always going to get Cold Mind. So how did they change Lunar Druid? Lunar Druid previously, I have this up on my other monitor. Oh no, don't minimize. So previously, Lunar Druid, damage taken from Curse of the Lycan is reduced by 50%. Taking damage from Curse of the Lycan gives 1 strength and 1 spirit. That was not good, because the damage of Curse of the Lycan was still ridiculous. Now, instead of getting Scourge of the Lycan, which is the curse you got initially to then trigger Curse of the Lycan, you just get a Curse of the Lycan, so you ignore the middle step. And whenever you draw Curse of the Lycan, it is now ethereal. So you draw it 1 turn, it gives you 1 blight, and then it goes away. Whereas previously, to get rid of it, you need to either have the discard, like status effect discard card, which only lasts for that battle, or you had to get rid of it at a merchant or event. And when you take damage from the Curse of the Lycan, it gives you 1 spirit. So basically, for Lunar Druid, it's now free spirit. Curse Lunar Druid could be disgusting. But there's also, like I said, there's instincts. For example, the gain max health instinct that also gives you a Curse of the Lycan. That now has some more synergy with Lunar Druid, which is good, because Lunar Druid likes max HP. This could be a little bit more fun. Before, I wouldn't even play it. And now... now, for the best one. Madman. Madman before had a lot of text. It said, hopefully future me puts it on the screen too, if HP is less than 50%, reduce the cost of cards by 1. Draw 1 extra card at the start of the turn. If HP is less than 25%, reduce cost of cards by 2. Draw 2 extra cards at the start of the turn. Now this sounds good. And it was. The issue with Bjorn is that his health bounces so dramatically. Like, you can full heal from 10 HP to 150 in 1 turn if you want to. And at 10 HP, you could just kill yourself. So it wasn't really easy to make the most out of Madman. It kind of just happened if you were taking damage. Or if you were expending a bunch of HP on cards. So it was kind of just like an effect that happened and you had very little control over. Now, Madman has been dramatically simplified and has one of the most powerful effects, I think. At the end of the turn, if HP is less than 50%, take 1 extra turn. I mean, that's just good. Because Bjorn can spend HP to play cards, with even just like 1 or 2 ferocious cards in your deck, you could still do all of the infinite Bjorn things, but then just play one of those cards at the end, drop yourself below 50%, end your turn, and now you have another turn. I'm assuming you can't do this repeatedly, but I wasn't able to test it because the beginning area didn't really give me much trouble. So, like I said, I'm assuming this extra turn only procs once. If it procs multiple times, I'm assuming that will be fixed, because that seems ridiculous. The enemy can't kill you if they don't get a turn. So, that is all the class changes. All in all, I think they're good. Veteran's been knocked down a few notches, so it's no longer a surefire win as long as you know what you're doing. And Bjorn has received some much needed love. So, that out of the way, back to the black screen and the details, shall we? There's a lot of talking. Added more improvements for Bjorn's talents. A little vague, and I'm not quite sure what this is referring to, but more improvements for Bjorn, he needed them. Corrected the values of damage and healing of cards for the new mechanics of Lycan's form. Okay. Also, Lycan form now just gives you 10 strength. It used to... Did it double your damage or 50% more damage? Now it just gives 10 strength, which is much stronger early on. And it's hard to say if that will be equally as strong at the end of the game, or if you could just scale off of that initial 10 strength to godhood. Hard to say. Reduce the number of attacks on Percival's card, Dance of Death. I didn't use this card, so I don't know what it is. Was it 6 attacks? Anyway. Slightly increase the chance of the appearance of said items at merchants and chests. Very good. They've done this a few times, and in all of my time of playing Knock on the Coffin Lid, I have only ever completed a set once. And I'm pretty sure it was Bjorn's Lunar Druid set. And it was disgusting. But I think I've only done it once, so hopefully this will help correct that. Increase the chance of question mark on the map. Question marks can be anything. Question mark. Reduce the required value of karma for selection at the end of the game. I think what this means. There are 2 ways this could go, and there's one The one that doesn't make sense is right now you need to have a good or bad karma in 2 of the 3 zones to get whatever ending you're going for. It doesn't make sense to reduce that to 1. It just doesn't. So my assumption is on the other way, where I believe it was you needed 3 good or bad events in that zone for that zone to be good or bad. I'm assuming they've reduced it to 2, which is what I thought it was originally. I made that mistake in the last stream, which is good. It makes it much easier, because you could only get karma from question mark events, I think. So, that helps out. I like that. Most of these bugs and technical fixes are kind of irrelevant, but just for the purpose of completion, we'll go over them. Fix the tooltip window, change the design of social media buttons in the main menu, fixed bugs of layering sounds from different events. Actually, did I say irrelevant? I meant really good. This was terrible on Melenis. Fixed problems when choosing a resolution of the game. The Boar Demon event now works correctly. For the veteran class, the reduction in cards is now only valid until it is used. This, honestly, I think this should have been next to the veteran rework in the notes, because that's a big deal. Fixed invisible paths on the Crimson Steps map. Bjorn's health is now displayed correctly. Card Frenzied Race now correctly increases the draw of cards. Good. I think I reported this being broken. Maybe that was something else. Poison's armor no longer imposes poison in the absence of thorns on the hero. Good. Fixed possible freezes when the High Goblin summons a giant worm. For Bjorn, when playing for the Madman class, the reduction in the cost of cards has been fixed. I thought it's been removed. Miko? Fix the sound of death of Percival. Good. Now the Carousel card is not added to Bjorn under the Mind Breakdown effect. This is... Oh, that's really good. That would have been mega annoying. This is for the Stray. If you stay in the form for 5 turns, then you get Mind Breakdown, and you only draw like 2 cards at a time or something. Like everything goes into your discard pile, so your draw deck is 0, and you get 2 of those cards back every turn. So that means every turn you would get Carousel. Oh, that would be so annoying. Armor of the Crimson Step now correctly increases Bjorn's strength. Very good. Fix a bug when playing Percival for the Knight class in the Double, Toil, and Trouble events. I don't even know what that is. Fixed incorrect intention of Melenis in Phase 3, so the thing above her head is correct now. Fixed Percival icon in Bjorn's dialogue in the Crimson Steps. I might have triggered this. Fixed the image of the Golden Buffalo's head. The Satisfy Hunger card now heals correctly. Fixed Boss Thing, now it does not interrupt the player's turn. Oh. Did it do that when I fought that? I just remember doing nothing on that boss for like the first 7 turns. Bloated zombies no longer react to damage from thorns. Good. The Curse Deal card is now selected correctly. Fixed localization arrows, and a hero under the effect of Ward is no longer involved in a retaliatory attack. Ward is the block magical thing. Okay. So that, my friends, was the patch notes and the upcoming roadmap for Knock on the Coffin Lid. Like I said, I think all these changes are good. It is a little disappointing to see Veteran knocked off of its pedestal, but let's all be honest, it needed to happen. It was going to happen, and today was that inevitability. Actually, it was August 20th. It's a bit late to this update. So we'll be back on Knock on the Coffin Lid when Melenis' nightmares are added. Again, I have no idea what this is going to be, but I am excited for new stuff to play. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope you enjoy your journeys in Midian, and I will see you in whatever the next video is, or whatever the next Knock on the Coffin Lid stream is. Bye!